7 a.m., Friday, October 17th. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Glad you're with us. Going to try to get you set for the college football weekend. And it's busy. There's a lot going on. GMAC, right out of the gate, this caught my attention early this morning. We know Penn State has a job opening, correct?
Correct. Can confirm. I don't believe it's been filled, but
not quite yet.
To my best understanding, I think it's available.
They possibly know who that is, but we don't know publicly just yet. Adam Brenneman of the Next Up with Adam Brenneman podcast, analyst at CBS Sports as well, a couple hours ago tweeted out, the more I think about it, the more I like Kalen DeBoer as a Penn State candidate. Do we know he's happy at Alabama? Clear path to the playoffs every year in the Big Ten. Don't need to follow in footsteps of Saban. Your thoughts?
I mean, I don't blame him for calling him. I mean, why wouldn't you? I'd call him too. I think he's one of the best coaches in America. I think he's, without question, one of the most accomplished coaches in America. If I were running a coaching search, I'd call everybody. I'd call Nick Sirianni. Hey, you're in Philly. Want to come try it out at Penn State? You're a Pennsylvania guy. You brought joy to the city of brotherly love. Come on, come win one at Penn State. I'd call everybody that I thought would be willing to listen. So, no, I don't think there's a chance he would take it. But I don't blame him for thinking about making the call.
Is it a good idea to, in your sales pitch to your coach, talk about the lack of depth in your conference?
Perhaps. Probably not the approach I would take. Most coaches are not usually actively searching for an easier path. I also would admit, is it an easier path? Because then to me, the expectations are higher. I'm not saying the expectations aren't high at Bama, but of course they are. But missing the playoff in the Big Ten when it's a 4-team league, or at least has been, is kind of hard to stomach. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I mean, I think it's a ludicrous idea. I don't know if Penn State, here's the thing that I find difficult, and I think this is a conversation for all of us to have. How attractive is the Penn State job? Seriously. I know you can make money there. I know you can win there. But is it as good as everybody seems to think? Because I kind of put it in the same category as I'm not saying Pitt, that's probably wrong, but a Georgia before Kirby, or a Clemson before Dabo. A program that has really been, for the most part, good, not great, for 40 years. They hadn't been great in 40 years. So, or nearly, maybe just at 40 years, 35 years, however long it's been. So it's been a long time since they've been at the super tip top of the sport. So is it as good as it once was? Sure, but it require having the coach to get them over the top, like it did at Clemson, like it did at Georgia, and like it did probably at some other places as well.
I was on our buddy Josh Pate's show last night, and he asked me about this new contract that Curt Signetti is getting and sort of what it means.
Yes.
And obviously Indiana wants to lock up their guy. And the conversation turned to, well, do you think that there are a lot of these kind of guys out there? How many Signettis are out there? And
yeah,
I actually responded, and this is just kind of the first thing that came to my mind, is because he was talking about the lower levels, different levels of college football. And my response, Greg, was that I actually think there are a lot of Curt Signettis out there. It's just most of them are never going to be found. And even when they are found, they're not going to be in a situation like he is in. You go in, the expectation's low, a couple billionaires get behind your program. You're essentially able to buy players now. He has access to more talent on a more regular basis because it doesn't have to be through traditional recruiting that always filtered through Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, and others before it did them in the Big Ten. They're not in an extremely talent-rich state when it comes to recruiting football. But now you don't have to recruit out of your state in high school. You can recruit guys that have played 2-3 years of college football. And you're in an era now where you don't have to do some of the things that made you successful in college football for such a long time. And I guess my point in that was so much of it is timing, so much of it is alignment. And as long as you have your process or your organization run the way you want it with the people around you that can help you do that, I think there are a lot of guys, and I'm not saying they're as good or better than him, but I think there are a lot of guys that could get somewhere and do a good job. And my other response to that was think about how many shoe-in coaching hires we've had over the years of guys that won somewhere else, or they won here, or they won there, or they have to have a conference championship somewhere. And then they go to other big school and they don't win, and it doesn't work. I'd just be interested where you are on that from a coaching perspective, because I just think so much of it is, yes. Do I think Dan Lanning could go in anywhere? Yes, I do. I think Nick Saban could have gone and won anywhere. But I think there's a lot of guys out there, Greg, that could be great college coaches, but they're not going to have the time's not going to be right for them at the certain spot that they do get a shot at. Like, and my example was how many of us were bragging about Kalen DeBoer when he was at Sioux Falls or whatever it was. Like nobody was talking about him. He was a great coach then. Been a great coach for a long time. I mean, I don't know. I didn't hear anybody other than us talking about Fresno like 5 or 6 years ago. So I think there's a lot of guys out there, but unfortunately, they're either never going to get the chance, or when they do get the chance, there's not going to be the opportunity because of timing or alignment or other things that are happening within college football for them to really prove themselves as far as how good of a coach they are.
Well, it also has to do with the place. Answer me this. Who do you think last year at Auburn was the best player on the team? Like best pound-for-pound football player on Auburn's team last year?
Either Keandre Lambert-Smith or Jarquez Hunter.
Okay, perfect. Where was Jarquez Hunter recruited out of, and how many stars did he have?
I think he was an Alabama kid, was he not? And he was like
from
a
Philadelphia, Mississippi, and he had 2 stars.
That's right. Yeah.
And everybody
2.
said Brian Harsin couldn't recruit, right? Like Brian Harsin couldn't recruit. He couldn't do this. He couldn't do that. Well, the reason why he couldn't recruit in the modern era because none of the billionaire backers gave him money because they didn't want him there. But here's what Curt Signetti does and why it's a perfect setup at Indiana. He can take whoever he wants. They're not sitting there star chasing at Indiana. They have a 5'9" corner. You know how many offers, if D'Angelo Pons went in the portal right now, who, by the way, might be an All-American candidate. If he went in the portal right now, I can guarantee you LSU wouldn't look at him, Georgia wouldn't look at him, Bama wouldn't look at him. All these blue blood schools with force that are star chasing and measurable chasing. By the way, which is not a bad thing. Like you're playing the percentages. The likelihood of a 6'1" corner being better than a 5'9" corner is pretty high. But sometimes there's just guys that supersede talent, that supersede size and play bigger. Like Mikhail Kamara, 2-star. A lot of the guys that he had on his defensive line last year were transfers from like Western Kentucky and like small schools. Like the best defensive lineman they had last year was a small school transfer. Half their team was James Madison last year. The receiver, James Madison, Surratt, unbelievable, right? Like the quarterback, transfer from Ohio, Rourke. I mean, if Curtis Rourke would have gotten recruited by Auburn, people would have been like, you have got to be kidding me. Why would we take him? Curt Cignetti is allowed to just evaluate talent and take who he wants without people micromanaging his star rating or his recruiting rankings. And that's not a bad thing, but all we do is measure stars and recruiting rankings here in the Southeastern Conference, and it's because we care. But at Indiana, they're like, we trust you, coach. You go get who you want to get. You go get who you think fits. And we're behind you 100%. And look at the results. Aiden Fisher, their linebacker, unbelievable. The guy is unbelievable. Makes every play. Transferred from James Madison. Probably had 2 scholarship offers coming out of high school. Like, I think there's something to that. And at some places, take that back. At most places that people are fans of that are listening to this show, you would never in a million years allow Signetti to recruit the way he recruits. Ever. And that's okay.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. There's just more that comes with that. Our buddy Matt Moscano is going half viral with the video he put out yesterday making fun of Alabama celebrating a 3-star defensive lineman that they got a commitment from.
Exactly.
If that's your guy, that's your guy. I mean, if that's who you evaluated and fits your scheme and that you like personally, and let's also not forget that the landscape of recruiting has changed. I'm just hypothetically, if Alabama has two D tackles in the portal that they know they're going to get, they feel pretty confident coming from other places. They feel like this kid is a developmental guy that in 3 years can be a star, but he's just under recruited right now. I mean, I just met with a player from Missouri yesterday that had two offers coming out of high school, and he might be the best running back in college football. I mean, he's Monroe and Lafayette. I think were the only two schools that were recruiting him. So if that's your guy, you go attack your guy, and you have the ability to put a guy on the shelf for 2 years. If that's how you recruited him, because hey, you can come here as a 3-star. There's no other SEC teams that are probably going to offer you, but it's going to take you 2 years to get on the field. You'll make this, and we'll work with you here. You'll be able to develop you because you can go get portal guys. You don't have to recruit exactly the same way. That's just like I'm just hypothesizing that that's possible there. I don't know.
Well, it also is. Guess who had 3 stars when I was playing? Kareem Jackson, Chance Warmack, Marcel Darius. All those guys were 2, 3-star. Javier Arenas. All those guys were like 2, 3-star players. Okay? They weren't like literally Marcel Darius, and they might have. I would not be that surprised. I've never gone back and looked. I bet you anything, if we go back and look, they've changed his grade to a 4-star at 247 just to make themselves look better because he went number 3 overall. I bet you anything they have. I haven't looked, but I bet you anything they have. Want to know why? Because they change stars after the fact. I know that's shocking. Like if guys get better, and guys that don't pan out, like they go back and like change stars. It happens. It's okay. Don't blame them. They're in business of making money and to incentivize subscription purchases. And as a subscription provider or as a subscription purchaser myself, I acknowledge what's going on. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's just you have to acknowledge what it is. And I do wish badly, like you said, the 3-star defensive lineman. Like there's more guys right now. There are more 3-stars with the chip on the shoulder playing at a high level right now in college football than you have any idea about. John Mateer, pretty good player, right? Like not bad, pretty good. I don't know. One of the best quarterbacks in college football prior to the hand injury. And hopefully he can get back on track. I don't know if that's going to happen. He had 2 offers, Central Arkansas and Washington State. 2 offers coming out of high school. Pretty good player, I'd say. Fernando Mendoza might be one of the top players in the country. You know how many offers he had coming out of high school? He ended up at Cal. You know how many offers he had in high school? Like 6. He wasn't like a super highly polished prospect. There's a million examples of guys like that. And guess what? Jackson Arnold had 136 offers, and he is a liability for his team. So I'm amazed at this. Like we still and I don't think that I think that's why Indiana's so good, because they don't meddle with their coach's talent evaluation. And as a result, he's hitting home runs every single year with the guys he's plugging and playing. Like, look at how good they are, dude. Like, that's a talented team. Like, Sam Pendleton, their center. Like, they went and got him off Notre Dame, said, all right, we can make you a center. They make him a center. Now he's like one of the better centers in the Big Ten. Like, it's pretty dang impressive, man.
Well, he was one that people were going after. I can tell you that for a fact. I mean, there's a lot of people wanted him. But, again, that's that luxury of how you can go recruit guys that have already played football and allow them to come in and play. To clarify, nobody on this show thinks that Kalen DeBoer is a candidate for the Penn State job. It was just a tweet that we read, and we thought it was going to be an interesting conversation because I think some of the strengths that were used in said argument for the Penn State job actually work more so for you at the Alabama job. I mean, who has an easier path to the playoff, Greg? Just annually, no other strings attached, Alabama or Penn State?
Well, based on history, Alabama.
Okay. Who plays in a better conference, top to bottom?
No, without question, Alabama.
Okay. So, I mean, the conference affiliation was sold out as a strength, and the path to the playoff was sold out as a strength. And I actually believe that both of those would be stronger if you were the head coach at Alabama, would be more so in your benefit if you were the head coach at Alabama. So You know,
Look, here's the
it
thing. Like, if you're Penn State, I would swing for the fences too. Like, I would call Ryan Day. 100% I would. Why wouldn't you? Like, just see. Like, worst he could do is say no. Like, I would call him. I don't even know if I could afford him, but I would call him. I'd call Kirby Smart. I'd call Kalen DeBoer. I'd call Steve Sarkisian. Like, I'd call them all. I need to be told no before I'm going to move on to the next candidate. Would you not do that? That's just common sense.
Yeah, if those were my guys that I thought were going to be the best for us and our best options that we possibly could get, then absolutely I would. Now I don't know if I would do too much of that, where you may actually miss a candidate that would potentially you could end up taking the job that you would want to have also. But I mean, I probably want to vet it out a little bit first instead of just cold calling guys that were, winning national championships and in the playoff every year. But
I mean, it'd be nice to kind of know, though. Hey, Ryan Day, they were pretty mad at you after you lost to Michigan. You know who wouldn't be mad at you? Us. We lose to Michigan every year. Come and coach for us.
We lose to Michigan every year.
I would try it.
We're used to it.
Why not?
It is. I am going to be interested in see the real candidates for that job. Where they go, where they think they can go. Like when we start hearing about the folks that are realistically up for that job, like who are those names? Maybe the most intriguing part, Greg, where they would potentially leave for that job. That's I think the part I'll be interested in. As football season moves on, that means changes in the weather are coming. Protect your HVAC system with a checkup from a trained comfort specialist, so when the cold weather hits, you'll have peace of mind that you're protected by America's most reliable and trusted brand. Find a comfort specialist for you at train.com. It's hard to stop a train. When we come back, we need to talk about this actual deal that Curt Cignetti just landed, because wow, it is something. And there's a lot to be said about it. What does it mean for the future of college football? We'll discuss all that and more next right here on Jocks. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. So, Josh Harbor in the YouTube chat informs me that that video is from June. I hadn't kept up with Moscana's videos. I apologize. And this is Landon Simmons that he's talking about, who
He's giving him good reps.
Showing some signs that is going to be a really good player, which would make this, a little more interesting here for sure. But if that's the case, then wow. All right. I honestly didn't know who he was talking about, where he was going. Like I've said before, we're not up on recruiting, so I apologize for that. We are up on jewelry, though, and if you need to get some for you or your family, GMAC, where should you go?
Well, you got to go to Bromberg's. They do such a great job. Been going there forever. Today's the last day of Jalisco Week, the last one. Would highly recommend you going and checking out the Jalisco Week at Bromberg's. It started on Monday. It's all the way through today that it is the last day. Kind of perfect time to get your home ready for fall and holiday hosting. You can shop beautiful new Jalisco pieces and classic favorites while enjoying fantastic savings for 1 week only. Brides, it's a great time to use your registry credit. And fellas, if you're registered at Bromberg's, pick up a Jalisco piece she picked out that is foolproof gift idea. All right, gotta love it. It's glassware, elegant dinnerware, linens, you name it. Jalisco brings beauty and joy to every gathering. There's no better time to add these pieces to your collection than Jalisco Week at Bromberg's. So stop by Bromberg's and add some joy to your home with Jalisco.
All right, let's move on and discuss this actual contract that Curt Signetti gets at Indiana. Just kind of maybe where this means we're headed, what it means for him, for Indiana. It is a doozy, to say the least. And a lot of folks are excited, questioning it, wondering, in disbelief. 8-year, $93 million deal, Greg, fully guaranteed for Curt Signetti at Indiana. Goodness gracious. When you saw the numbers, just initially, what were your thoughts?
Well, one, smart to do it now because you're not going to get any hotter than you are right now. Two, you're not leaving for Penn State. And I think everybody knows that. And I'm sure that Indiana and Curt Signetti's agent, I'm assuming he's with Jimmy Sexton. I don't know for sure. I'm sure Jimmy Sexton knows that. Why? Because of the calendar. Like Penn State's going to need a coach on December 1st at the latest. Therefore, if you are in the midst of a playoff run and chasing a championship, and I really believe Indiana can win it this year, I absolutely do believe that. Well, guess what? You're not going to leave that and go take a job somewhere else. You're not going to do it. So the timing wasn't going to work out. You can't go get and hire a coach that's in the playoff anymore. So assuming Indiana makes the playoff, which I don't think is like some outrageously high assumption, I think that's almost in all likelihood a lock, then he wasn't going to Penn State. So basically, instead of turning it down and having no leverage, he floated the possibility of, hey, I could leave, and used all the leverage and got the biggest deal possible that he could get. I think it's genius. I think it's a smart move. I would have done the exact same thing.
It just feels like a lot. And this one is a little bit different because he is a coach. A lot of times we see these extensions and we say immediately to ourselves, like, who is coming to get him? And then there's other times we say some of these administrators are going to have to let guys walk. Like you're going to have to say, fine, go to the next place. Indiana not going to do that. They're going to make sure that this is their guy for the foreseeable future. Is there a part of this that you look at just because there has been? I don't think you would look at it this way. I don't think I would look at it this way. But there have been a lot of people around college football who have utilized that excuse recently of coaches can make this, coaches can make this. Why shouldn't the players be able to make that? Coaches are making X amount. Why shouldn't players be able to make that? Is there a part of that you see and say, do you even want it to be to that extent? Because of a lot of the pushback from people in the media, in the public, of coaches making X, players making X, life isn't fair.
I'm not sure I'm like connecting the dots here. Like they think the amount that Curt Signetti's making is unfair because the players don't make that much. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, what is the argument? Maybe I'm not on social media, so I don't know.
Oh, this has been for years now, where people
Oh,
are, well, Kirby Smart makes X or Nick Saban makes 10 million a year. Well, why can't so and so make 80 a year, whatever that is? There are people that are just going to utilize that, and I'm not on board with it, but obviously certain people are going to go that direction with it. I just
yeah. Well, you
this
are what
this is a
someone's
little
willing to pay you.
past but this is past the what we've seen from even heavy coaching contracts. Like this is like the new standard. So I just wondered, is that I don't think Curt Cignetti cares. I don't think Indiana cares. But could it be weapon? I just asking the question. Could it be weaponized by other people?
Oh,
Maybe it's a really dumb thought on my part. So
no, I don't think
I'm
it's
sorry for
ever a
that.
dumb thought because everything's being used against everybody now. I don't think it's a dumb thought. I think it's a perfectly reasonable thought. I just don't know in the era in which we're seeing players living in a free market, anyone's going to care. Like, I think that if the prior to players getting paid, people would have had a whole host of issues with this. But now that the players are getting paid, I don't hear anybody complaining about coaches' contracts anymore. Like, do you ever hear? I hear people complaining about coaches being able to leave and freely go wherever they want. But I don't hear anybody complaining about the salaries that coaches are bringing in. But maybe I'm missing the boat. Maybe I need to start following people on Twitter that are up in arms. I don't know. I don't know. Are people still mad about what coaches make?
I think there are some folks out there that are always going to say, well, if coaches can make this, players should be making that. And we've talked about the hows and the whys of that, and
Yeah.
what they've done, and running an entire program and being a professional. It's just we're not mad at it. We're not against it. Just kind of what it is as far as how and why things work. But what did you think from an Indiana standpoint when you saw the deal?
I thought it was fine. I think it's maybe a bit premature. Just seems like a lot of money to throw at a guy that is 20 games into his tenure. And look, I'm not sure. I think Curt Signetti is a really good coach. I think he's a phenomenal talent evaluator. Like, I think his greatest strength is talent evaluation. I think he has a bravado. I also think that his coordinators are elite. Defensive coordinator especially. I think his defensive coordinator is elite. So I think whatever it takes, keep him. Do whatever it takes. Do not let Bryant Haynes walk out the door. But I think he's great, and I think it makes sense for Indiana. I think also for Indiana, the reason why they're so excited to boast about how much money Curt Cignetti's making is because it really is impactful in the perception of how invested they are now in football. We all know that Bama, Georgia, Tennessee, Texas, we all know that they have deep, deep, deep pockets that are all about hey guys, we're rich. We are. So, but you know who doesn't know that, maybe not a lot of people realize that Indiana's got crazy deep pockets too. So it's probably in their best interest and Texas Tech's best interest and all these other schools that are trying to prove themselves. Hey guys, guess what? We're in the business of football now. We might have been a basketball school for 40 years, but we are in the business of football now. And we want you guys to see how invested we are. We just paid our coach X. You know what I mean? So I think from a PR standpoint, it's really good for Indiana to just showcase the level of investment and the level of resources that they have committed to football now.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt, and it's one of those things that you're gonna look at this down the road, and it's gonna be genius, or we're gonna look at it down the road, and it's gonna be what in the world were they thinking when they went and did this one? You know what you're thinking when you head into your CBD store. Products that can help you sleep a little bit better, products that can help you focus throughout the course of the day, products that can help you wake up and get a great start going to your day. Weight loss to trim by SunMed on the shelves now at the largest brick and mortar CBD retailer in the world. Your CBD store focuses their attention on being the best plant science company out there. Certified USDA organic oil supplements. They've got the stamp seal on the products, the line's main products in stock now. Arthritis, anxiety for you or your pet, they have products that can help with that. Skincare, gut health, and more. Just make your daily routine better with your CBD store. One of the 3 locations is where you can go visit them. Highway 280 by Bailey Brothers, 150 by the Cage in Cleaver, and Trustful just off 459. Your CBD store where good health hits home. Stanford Steve joins us next to answer the question, is it an over weekend or an under weekend? Next on Jocks.
McElroy, Cubelic, Jocks 94.5, 7:33 here, Birmingham, Alabama. It's time now for Stanford Steve to join the show. He's brought to us every single week thanks to our friends at Atlas Senior Living. They're a premier senior housing company currently serving residents and families in 41 communities across the United States. Go and check out atlasseniorliving.com. That's ATLAS, seniorliving.com, to find a community near you. Want to give a shout out to their public pick'em winners. That's Joe Smerglia and Bren Bishop. They won a $150 Amazon gift card by going and picking winners at atlasseniorliving.com. Also want to give a shout out to the resident winner, Jerry Emery, from the Galton at St. Petersburg in St. Petersburg, Florida. Go and join that pick'em contest by going to atlasseniorliving.com. Click on the football banner and pick some winners each week. You can get a $150 Amazon gift card if you pick really, really well. He's Stanford Steve. He joins us now, thanks to our friends at Atlas Senior Living. Steve, how are you, my friend?
What's up, fellas? How we doing? Everything's good here in Athens. You guys both got, what do you got, home games? Nice, good for you in the middle of the season.
You know, just on a bit of a tear here in the home games for me. Cole's been traveling a little bit crazily, but this will be a little easier for him as he heads down to Auburn. We'll start with that Auburn game. Line's interesting. Auburn, of course, licking their wounds a bit. Mizzou, I think, is really good. That line is really narrow. I think if we look at it just on paper, it's Mizzou by a bunch. I'm laying the points all day, but it's hard to lay them, I feel like, in this spot when you look at the line. How are you evaluating that one?
There's a lot going into that one, Greg. I think when you look at Missouri, how do they get up off the deck after a loss? I heard your interview with Coach Drink. He seems to be in a good mindset amongst all the swirling winds of him taking every other job that's open. So I think Missouri will be all right. I really love what Auburn's defense brings to the table. Despite the targeting, despite the late hit on the quarterback, I mean, you're still in that thing for 4 quarters. And I just look at Auburn, that fan base, getting another night game, how special that place could be. Rally the troops moment, whatever you got to call, back against the wall. I like Auburn in that spot.
All right, Steve, there's another one in the SEC that's interesting for a lot of reasons, mainly that Vanderbilt has never been here before, and that is being favored over a top 10 football team. Does Vegas have this one right as of today?
I mean, call me crazy, guys. I trust Vanderbilt more. When I look at that matchup and I see what I see week after week, and now we're in week 8, I don't trust LSU. I don't trust the game plan on offense. I don't see the direction and where you want to be. I heard about how you got all these assets on offense, and when I see it on the field, it doesn't click. And plenty has been made. You guys did a good job on the broadcast last week, dictating what Nussmeier's doing, what he has been, ball velocity. And I just look at Vanderbilt getting humbled going to Alabama, a week off, dissecting what they do as far as an offensive plan. How that offense offsets, strengths of defenses, and you get them at home. It's not a traditional home game for all these road teams now in the SEC. When you go to Nashville, the stadium's done. I like what Vanderbilt brings to the table as far as the offensive line being on the same page. You saw that at Alabama. I mean, they went up and down the field. The turnovers inside the 10-yard line killed them. So I like Vanderbilt. I really do. I think they're the better football team when you look at both sides of the ball.
Yeah, they're very good. I really like them. There's some lines out there this weekend that are very, very tough. I think it's a good board. I like the board. But I look at a team like Tennessee. I look at a team like USC. I look at a team like Ole Miss. Those are 3 good football teams. And yet they're all on the road. I get that. But they're dogs by more than a touchdown. It just seems like a lot of points. So how are you sizing up these big dogs here on the road with quality teams?
It's kind of like a buildup of the dam, Greg, right? Like, how much can you withstand without a good defense? That's what I think of when I see Tennessee. You come out and, I think, the week after they played Georgia, I came on with y'all and like, it was like, kind of like what I saw from Tennessee. But since then, it's one possession games. You gut one out on the road in Starkville, tough place to play. Arkansas off a bye week. You know what Petrino's going to have, every trick in the bag. And now this is it. Like, you've got to go and play maybe the hottest team in the country. I just like the matchup for Alabama there. I just think what Ty has done in the past game, and seeing that Tennessee's defense still hasn't gotten those corners back, and they really need it. They've played well enough to win these games, but I think this is a different animal in Tuscaloosa. Ole Miss, I watched the offensive line last week, and I watched the inconsistency of the quarterback play, and then Trinidad goes off and reels 12 completions in a row, and everything's right. And then you see Lane after the game not happy with his team. I just feel like this is Georgia got away with one last week, and I like what they bring to the table. I thought the last drive by Bobo and Stockton was absolutely textbook. When you talk about in a 4-minute drill, not wanting to give the ball back to the other team, short throws, run game, I trust Georgia in this spot, and that's why I like them Saturday afternoon. Sorry.
I'm going to ask you essentially the same question that I asked about LSU Vandy, and actually agree with you. I do think Vanderbilt is a better football team right now.
Yep.
Duke's -1.5 at home against Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's a better football team. I think we would all agree with that. And it's nothing against Duke. I think they're a solid team. I think the offensive line plays well. I like their scheme offensively. But is this line correct in your opinion?
I'll sound crazy again. I like Mensa more than Haynes King. And when you go back, I just thought turnovers killed them against Illinois in that out-of-conference game. That was a big spot early in the season. They created pressures, on Altmaier, and the turnovers ended up killing them. And Illinois cashed those in and made a big difference in the score in that game. But I just love the difference makers Duke has in this game. I think they're primed for their spot. They went out to Berkeley and were trailing early, and that's a tricky place to play in a late night game. And then you get a bye week to recoup, and now you got everything focused on Georgia Tech, who's undefeated, probably not as highly thought of amongst other undefeated teams when you look at them and watch what they put together every Saturday. But the situation screams Duke, and that's why I like Duke. I just love what Mensa brings to the table, and Manny's due for one of those big wins as the head coach at Duke, and this feels like the spot for Duke, so I like the Blue Devils.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's a hammer. Lock it and stock it. That's done. I'm just not on Georgia Tech. Like, you could have them. Like, I think they're fine. I think they're a fine football team. I just think that the way people are perceiving them is amazing.
Yeah.
Frankly, I just don't see it. Oklahoma, South Carolina. Fascinating one here. Race to 10. You get the double digits, you win. At least it feels that way. Oklahoma last week revealed some real challenges. I mean, not that we didn't already know, like running the football, offensive line, all that stuff. But I also think that you are getting Oklahoma on sale right now. Whereas South Carolina, this might be the last gasp. This might be the last charge. This could be the final surge. So that's a tough one. Line's around 5.5. I don't love road chalk, but I feel like this is as low as you're ever going to get Oklahoma in this spot. And I still think their defense is going to cause a ton of problems for Lenora, Sellers, and company. What are you doing with this one?
No doubt. Oklahoma's defense is going to travel. I just look at Oklahoma's offense. I mean, you see what Mateer looked like last week, and now reading, it sounds like they're down to the third right tackle. When you look at it, and that's an offensive line that's already up against it, and I thought got exposed last week. And you know what Stewart brings to the table. I mean, that collision he had with the tight end for LSU and on the goal line. I don't know, Cole, if you were in that end zone, man, but helmet to chest on a split zone never goes well for the tight end that's pulling. And I just look at the physicality in both of these teams' schedules. It feels like it's just warming up. We talk about Oklahoma, with getting Ole Miss and a bunch of teams, going to Alabama later on. I'll take the points at home. I still think Lenoris has what it takes to pull off one of these upsets. We've seen him do it before. And it's again, a lot of these teams, it's right there back against the wall. South Carolina at home, knowing the defense, what they can do to Mateer. I like South Carolina plus the points.
I'm going to give you your pick of two. You can take the game, and then you have to take the side over under one of these Big Ten games. Penn State, Iowa, 40.5. Ohio State, Wisconsin, 41.5. You choose the game. You choose the total. You choose the side of the total.
I don't know what Ohio State wants to do. Like, do they want to challenge their run game against a good run defense against Wisconsin? I'm going to go to Iowa because I trust them at night at Kinnick in a home game, and I think it's the over. They covered they got the total over themselves last week in Madison. Gronowski's done a decent job. You know you're going to get defense at Kinnick, and you got a quarterback that's making his first start ever for Penn State in Grunkemeyer at Iowa. So I'm going to say under in the Iowa game. If I need a side, I will take Iowa.
That Iowa game really went over last week? I thought it stayed under.
Yeah, 36.5. They won 37-0.
Yep. Tighten up, Cole.
Unless you had it 37.5.
Ooh.
Oh, good book. Give me that.
Cole. Oh, Cole. I forgot. Cole bought that extra point. Love that. I love 37.5. I don't like 36.5. I'm gonna buy it up. Love that spot.
Cole
all right, couple
last
tricky.
Week, though, with all those unders, he nailed it. He said all those.
Yeah,
no
the South Florida one didn't do me any favors, but yeah.
Okay. Well, that's Thursday.
We don't count
that
the
count.
weeknight games. Cole.
Yeah, the weekend. The weekend's all that matters.
Saturday.
Good.
Come on.
Good.
Couple others that are interesting: quarterback injuries, and the reason you just talked a little bit about Grunkenmiller or whatever his name is for Penn State. The one I'm more intrigued with, frankly, is Texas Tech and Arizona State. Sounds like Levitt's going to go. The line reflects that. It was at 12.5, and then all of a sudden Texas Tech became just a 7.5 point favorite. I still love Texas Tech in this spot. I'm just not sold on Arizona State. So how should we be treating that game, knowing that Levitt's now back in the lineup?
Yeah, that one's tough because if you like Arizona State, Greg, it's blind faith because they could not have looked worse with Sims at quarterback last week. Like, I stayed up watching that one. I don't know why I did. Maybe because our guy Dave Fleming was on the call, but that was a rough watch for Arizona State. And then you look at it, it's like, oh, yeah, no wonder. They sat Levitt so we could play against Texas Tech, who's the top-ranked team in the conference. I just trust. I mean, the game control, the dominance Texas Tech has shown on the defensive side, and with, Morton, sounds like he's going to be a game time. He's got to get through practice today. So I just trust Texas Tech. I love the pieces. I think the Dickey kid at running back is an absolute stud. Whether you throw
so is
the
the
ball
other
or
one.
you turn
Williams
around and
is
hand
good
him.
too.
Yeah. I mean, they game control. All those analytics. They're the only team that hasn't trailed in a game. You got to feel like that matches up well going on the road against Arizona State, who is starting to fall. It's a big spot for them because if you start looking at all the stuff we talked about in the off season, right, with returning production, and I love Clemson, and I love Penn State, and Arizona State fell into that level too. Those teams are not showing up, and it goes against all the talk of, I got this many amount of returning starters. Arizona State's falling in that basket of not looking good with so much returning production.
I don't think there's any doubt. Give us your thoughts on Bama, Tennessee. Just maybe the number where it is, if there's a side of it that you like in any way, shape, form, or fashion, and then just the game, how you kind of see it playing out.
They better have extra lights in the stadium with the light show after touchdowns and all that, because I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this one. The thing that sticks out to me when I watch Tennessee, and like I said earlier, I love what I've seen from them out of that Georgia game with Aguiar at quarterback. But the minus of not having the quarterback run in that offense, I think shows up. You saw it at Mississippi State early on. Last week when they're trying to steal a game, it's not there, and I think that hurts you. I think it helps Alabama's defense when they've struggled in years past against this offense. And Alabama's offense is playing as good as anyone in the country, and the toys that Ty has to play with on offense, I think, are just too much for Tennessee's defense, and I like Alabama and the over.
I would not be surprised if it's a high-scoring game, and I agree with you with Aguilar. I think he's a good thrower. I think he's a really good thrower. I think he's a much better thrower than Nico. I think he is. I trust him much more down the field, but his legs are not the threat that Nico's were, so it just changes the way you're going to have to scheme and defend. So it'll be interesting to see how they line up. All right, last one, Steve. teams that we're all super high on now. Like everybody's super high on Indiana. I think they roll. Everyone's super high on Ohio State. I think Wisconsin covers. I don't know why I'm so sick. I feel like I have to take Wisconsin in that spot. I think everyone's high on Texas again. I think Kentucky covers. Like all these teams that everyone's super high on right now, I feel like it's the right time to fade some of the steam. So how many of those dogs can you get on? By the way, I'm on Rutgers this weekend too against Oregon. Like I know it's sicko mode, but I'm on them.
It is. You must be talking to Van Pelt either, because he has Wisconsin and Rutgers in winners last night, and he's losing his mind because he went 3-5 last week, including having Auburn and Arizona late.
Don't get me started with Arizona. That's you can't talk about that.
The most meaningful game of the weekend, I believe, is Notre Dame. And I go back and I watch it, and I watch Notre Dame, and I get it. C.J. Carr has been awesome. The offense is awesome. Jeremiah Love is awesome. I still think SC has enough to compete. I think that's a lot of points. You're giving me more than a touchdown, and that game means a ton because Notre Dame has to have it. And it's dicey, with them, starting all these night games in their big spots, and they've done a good job of placing the night games at home with their Peacock and NBC thing, whatever it is. But I still believe the way Lincoln has that thing rolling. I like SC plus the points.
Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm with you 100%. Like, but there's supposed to be light rain and 14-mile-an-hour winds. Okay?
Yeah.
Like,
both teams got to play with
that. Yeah, but say, like, but SC lost their running backs. Yeah, but the third-string walk-on went for $160 against Michigan. So, I don't know, man. I'm with you. I'm an SC guy. I love Notre Dame's bounce back, but I think SC can hang for sure. Steve, great stuff as always, my friend. Have a great time in Athens, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning on game day.
Very good. Appreciate you guys having me on, and let's have a great weekend. Plenty of ball in the SEC.
Dial it up, big guy. Dial it up. All right. Steve is brought to us every week. Thank to our friends at Atlas Senior Living, ATLAS-seniorliving.com. Go and check them out. 41 communities scattered all throughout the country. They're going to take care of your loved ones like their family. And you can also, at their website, join the Football Pick'em contest. It will give you a $150 Amazon gift card if you pick some winners this weekend.
All right, when we come back, we begin Max Ball Friday. Our thoughts on games with predictions, top to bottom, starting next right here on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. 800-239-9569. If you want to get in and potentially discuss any games coming up this weekend, you can do that, and you can do it now. Tweet in at Mac and Cube. You can be a part of the show there. Also, if you want to maybe just give us your thoughts and predictions on certain games. We will start in the Southeastern Conference tomorrow morning, 11 a.m., that LSU Vandy game. I'm pretty much right in line with Stanford Steve, G-Mac. I think Vandy is the better team. Obviously, LSU has more talent. LSU can be more explosive. I don't think they consistently have been more explosive. They haven't consistently been a team that has proven that they can go put up 40 points regardless of opponent, regardless of time, however they want to. But when you look at the matchup, how do you sort of see it evening out of who has advantages where in this game tomorrow morning?
Well, I mean, I think the big thing is how disciplined can LSU be? You know, I think that's the ticket. And if you look at last year's game, I went back and blitzed it yesterday a little bit. Like LSU, they played very well against Vandy last year. They were very disciplined. And they scaled it back a bit from their aggressiveness standpoint. So that, I think, is pretty significant. Like, are they going to scale it back and get into, like, some of their quarter stuff like they did last year? Or are they going to keep applying the pressure? Something tells me they'll probably be a little less aggressive. So if they're less aggressive and they kind of let the game play, I like their chances. But the big question to me is more with LSU's offense. Like, 'cause I think Vandy's going to have some time-consuming drives. I think they can move the ball. But how many points is LSU going to score, frankly, against a defense that I think is pretty good up front, but I think they have some vulnerabilities in the back end?
I'm interested to see if Vandy's offense can consistently move the ball. I like the offense. I think it's a good offense. I think it's a great defense. And we've talked about some of the complications of how both operate and maybe whose advantage that leans to. We'll talk more on that one. More on all the rest of the games coming up this weekend around college football next on Jocks.